The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. Vice President Leni Robredo joins the mounting calls for the Commission on Elections to extend voter registration for the 2022 polls. In our weekly radio show, Robredo called on the body to extend voter registration by 1 month, citing the extraordinary circumstances caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. The Comelec has previously said it will not be extending the voter registration deadline, which is set on September 30.
Naiintindihan natin yung Comelec kasi dahil digitized yung election, kailangan talagang gumalaw na sila. Kailangan talagang ayusin na nila lahat. So kailangan maglagay ng deadline. Pero baka naman ka, Eli, possible na i-delay pa siya for another month para lang siguradong makahabol yung mga hindi pa nakakarehistro.
Robredo, meanwhile, said she is more than willing for a one-on-one face-off with former Senator Bongbong Marcos in the 2022 presidential elections. The vice president urged Filipinos to unite and not let the country suffer the same fate as in the Marcos regime.
Yung pagkakandidato ko ba, makakatulong ba siya sa ayaw nating mangyari? Ano ba yung ayaw nating mangyari? Na itong administrasyon na to mag-continue beyond 2022, na si Marcos makabalik in power, yun yung mga ayaw natin mangyari. So ang considerations ko pa, Eli, yun. Sabi ko nga, kung one-on-one kami ni BBM, go na go ako doon.
PNP Chief Guillermo Eleazar starts delegating the police force to monitor any demonstrations that will be made by anti-vaccination protesters. This after members of the Gising Maharlika group staged a protest in front of the Liwasang Bonifacio Sunday morning. All of them maskless. Eleazar described it as a deliberate attempt to object the national government's vaccination drive and to disapprove the presence of COVID-19. The chief police said any actions violating minimum public health protocols will no longer be tolerated as local cops monitor possible mass protests.
Holding protest actions to insist on what you believe in does not make it right. It is but plain and simple acts of defiance and responsibility because you are putting our personnel and other civilian population at risk of being infected.
A senator calls on the Commission on Audit and the Office of the Ombudsman to probe a controversial multi-billion peso deal involving Pharmally Pharmaceutical. Senator Franklin Drilon said that on Saturday that a special audit into the budget department's deal with Pharmally is necessary. This, Drilon said, is because COA's regular annual audit may not be sufficient to establish the overpricing of face masks and other medical supplies. In a separate statement, Drilon said the Ombudsman can also conduct a fact-finding investigation to look into the alleged anomalous deal. He said both COA and the Ombudsman can subpoena documents and witnesses. Pharmally was awarded billions of pesos in government contracts despite a 600,000 pesos paid-up capital and zero declared income in 2019. Now in weather, PAGASA warns residents of eastern Visayas and eastern Luzon of moderate rains due to a low-pressure area. The Weather Bureau spotted the LPA some 90 kilometers off the coast of Boroban City in eastern Samar. Expect moderate to heavy rains over Bicol region, Calabarzon, Marinduque, and Romblon in the next 24 hours. Residents living along high-risk areas should be wary of flash floods and rain-induced landslides. Now, Now, for about 2 years, the COVID-19 pandemic wiped out the university life as we know it. Now, with a push to return to campus in the United States, there seems to be changes in what college looks like in the COVID age. Let's find out more in this video.
What's it like to be on campus right now?
We thought we were coming back in
You
2
had
weeks.
spring break.
Yeah, exactly.
And here we are 1.5 years later.
How do you guys feel?
Awesome, we're back.
It's like a whirlwind of nostalgia. Since I'm back on campus after a 1.5 years of being virtual, is just a great feeling. It's an energy that you like want to bottle. That's how great it is.
As a senior, right, that's the biggest thing, is just being back on campus, back with your friends, and finally taking classes in person.
And Bianca, you did not get a freshman year. What's it like for you to be here?
It was a bit of an adjustment, especially after being online the first year, but I've come to really like it and realize like what I missed out on this past year.
What did you feel like you missed out on freshman year?
I think freshman year is like the perfect time to make friends. Everyone's deciding what they want to do still, getting used to the campus, and I feel like I missed out on that chance. Last year it was very like isolated, but now I'm like settled in though. I've made a few friends, I've gotten a feel for campus, and I like it. I'm happy to be here now.
You're gonna stay.
Yes, I'm going to stay.
David and Jeremy, what was that gap year like for you? I mean, how do you transition to being back on campus?
So for me, it was a pretty seamless transition. You know, going from in-person to virtual was a rough one. But going back from virtual to in-person, it feels like I never left. It's like just picking up back where we left off.
Right, the transition to online classes was definitely more tough in the aspect of now your textbooks are online, your professors are online, you're talking to your friends and students online, and there was no time to prepare for that. It was spring break and then you were on to online classes, so.
We thought we were coming back in
You
2
had spring
weeks.
break.
Yeah, exactly.
And here we are 1.5 years later.
What are some of the changes that you're noticing on campus that you think are going to be permanent to campus life going forward?
So one thing I've definitely noticed is everybody's being a little bit more cautious with who we're hanging
How
out
so?
with,
Yeah.
where we're hanging out, how big the gatherings are. On campus, we're not allowed to have any outside guests. Even off campus, Rutgers students can't come into my residence hall. Inside of our classrooms, inside of our residence halls, inside of anywhere we're common spaces, we're wearing masks. And that, I think, is what we have to do in order to be able to keep each other safe.
They mandated vaccines for students. Curious how you guys reacted to that when you heard that news. David?
I already had mine, so it wasn't a big deal for me, but I'm happy they decided with that decision because it makes me at least feel more safe.
Do you feel like all students felt that way, or have you heard otherwise?
I think we're all willing to take that step if that means we can go back to normal.
And how do you factor in your decisions to go to things like parties, go to a football game?
I think now with the vaccine, I feel comfortable. Of course, taking precautions like wearing masks and washing hands are all important.
Do you hope you get a normal campus experience?
If anything, I'm just afraid that it'll go back, that people will get too comfortable and I'll just have another year or semester taken away from me.
And we have a huge college here. You know, we have over 50,000 students, and the vast majority are vaccinated. And we were the first college to even mandate a vaccine in all of the United States, the first major university. I think that the happy medium, that perfect marriage of vaccination plus masking and taking precautions, we're doing what we need to do to be safe.
What about parties?
There's parties. I mean, it's college. There's parties, but I think everybody at those parties are doing a better job of, you know, not sharing certain glasses, certain cups. I think everybody's smart here. It's Jersey. Everyone from Jersey's smart. So yeah, no, we're doing a great job.
I'm sure you have friends across the country at other universities. Do you think this is sort of the norm across the board at universities and colleges?
I think it depends where my friends are at school. You know what I mean? You hear different things at different areas, but for the most part, yeah, most people are vaccinated, and then most people want to be vaccinated so they can go back to doing things that they used to do, like going to the cafeteria and not wearing a mask, or going to shop, or going to work out, or going to take classes.
Do you think there should be a hybrid option in the future for college, or do you think there is some value in being back on campus?
Going into in-person classes all the time can be very draining, but having some of it online allows me to pick when I feel I can do my best work.
I don't think that they should have just a hybrid option. I think definitely in-person should be the number one. And if you want that hybrid option, you could take that.
How do you think this college experience, the variation of college experiences that you guys have all had, how do you think that's going to shape what you do post-college?
I think it's prepared me, at least, when I get into the professional world of I'm ready for anything now. I'm ready and prepared to either be fully in person or fully remote or whatever the case may be.
Before I leave here, I'm just taking advantage of every single moment I have left. As a senior, this feels like a blessing. This feels like a gift. Like we were given this last year to have in person and experience the way we used to. But post-graduation, post-pandemic, I think I am definitely a stronger individual. I feel like I'm definitely prepared more for my future than I was.
I think it made me more confident in my decision to go into the field of psychology because I've seen how much the pandemic has affected the mental health of people that are close to me. It's definitely been difficult being so isolated from people, and it just makes me want to work with people and help people even more.
That's great. So you guys are happy to be back on campus.
To say the least,
100%.
yeah.
That is awesome. Thank you guys all for being here.
Thank you.
This is
Thank you.
great.
Thank you.
Let's now take a quick look at today's other top stories. Former Social Welfare Secretary Dinky Suleiman passed away at 7:32 this morning. She died due to complications from renal and heart failure. She was 68. Recall that Suleiman also contracted COVID-19 in August and survived the infection. Suleiman served during the administration of Gloria Macapagal Arroyo and Noynoy Aquino, and she was at the helm of Aquino's Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program, or 4Ps. The Philippine Army said they are looking at 3 possible angles for the bombing at Datupiang, Maguindanao on Saturday. One of those is that it could be a diversionary tactic from the Bangsamoro Islamic Freedom Fighters and the Dauliya Islamiyah. The Army said that the bombing was an isolated incident and is not related to a warning issued by the Japanese government for possible terror attacks. No one was reported killed in the incident, but 8 were injured. And Carlo Biado made a comeback win against Singapore's Aloysius Yap in the US Open Pool Championship this morning. He scored 13-8 and won the last 10 racks in the row to snatch the title. He will receive $50,000 or about 2.5 million pesos as prize money. Biado joins the rank of Efren Bata Reyes and is the first Filipino to win the US Open since 1994. For more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World Online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now, www.signalplay.com, and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.